and welcome to Silverstone. It's a brand new season of performance GT and sports car racing. Not only has the size of the grid grown significantly since last season, but the Championship can also boast considerable strength and depth. There's an interesting mix of experienced and successful GT racers with young and up-and-coming talent, all looking to make a name for themselves. As Chris Hartley explains.
During the winter break, the Championship has come under new ownership and been given a fresh injection of enthusiasm and a complete relaunch. With a wealth of experience working for some of the UK's most prominent race organisers, as well as 10 years behind the scenes at Britcar during its heyday, Claire Headley has taken over the reins. She succeeded in attracting the largest field of cars onto the grid in years, and as a racing driver herself, is in a good position to understand exactly what the competitors want from the Championship.
The ambition is basically to get Britcar back to endurance racing. That's where it belonged 10 years ago. I feel it is a drivers' championship. We want to do the championship for them. So we've had committee meetings deciding what they want. It's just good seat time. You know, a lot of sprint races are good fun and very quick, where at least with endurance you usually get a good amount of track time and it's good value for money. So back to endurance racing, which is what the home of Britcar should be about.
The new Luck Championship will feature 8 rounds, each with races of between 2 and 4 hours, including a 3-hour night race at Brands Hatch to round out the season. Leading manufacturer Dunlop have signed a 3-year deal to be the Championship's official tyre supplier. And as part of a more customer-focused approach, the teams, guests and sponsors can now benefit from professional hospitality. Perhaps most significant of all, though, is the development of new regulations designed to be as fair as possible. One of the core strengths of Britcar has been the eclectic and interesting mix of cars on the grid. Although they are fundamental to the lineup, the Championship has never been exclusively for exotic GTs and sports prototypes. So, with the diverse entry to accommodate, the organisers wanted to devise a class structure that encouraged teams to compete on equal terms, whatever their vehicle. But rather than simply looking at the power-to-weight ratio, factors such as the car's aerodynamics, suspension, electronic aids and other advanced technology are all taken into account, as Britcar director and experienced racing driver Rob Headley explains.
As a championship organiser, I didn't want to restrict us to very strict rules like GT3, GT4. One of our key things is the eclectic mix of cars. It ranges from a brand new Lamborghini Huracan GT3 right down to a Mini or a small Ginetta G40, a junior car. We've got 5 classes, but with my system we base it on effective lap time as opposed to engine size. So the beauty of the system is you tell us what you've got, we'll then classify you, we'll then place you so you're racing against similar speed cars, not a car of the same engine size, because of course there's differences in suspension setups and everything else, and we will place it against similar race cars at a similar speed, so you're guaranteed a good race.
The reaction to all of these changes has been overwhelmingly positive, resulting in an impressive 27-car entry for the opening round here at Silverstone. Making a welcome return are 2014 and 2015 champions FF Corse in their Ferrari 458. But drivers Callum Lockie and David Mason know that they're likely to face their toughest test yet in search of a 3rd consecutive title.
It's going to be very, very tough. There are a lot of GT3 cars with some very quick drivers, so we're going to be fighting like hell, I was going to say, but why not? Yeah, we'll be fighting a lot, and I hope we'll do well. We'll have to see.
Coming back into the fold are Neil Garner Motorsport. Spanish drivers Javier Murcia and Manuel Centrano came within 1 point of winning the title in 2014 and are likely to be frontrunners in their trusted Mosler. Johnny Molam is one of the most respected international GT racers around and has been a factory driver for Porsche and Lotus, amongst others. He teams up with Welsh entrepreneur Bonamy Grimes in the Class 2 FF Corse Ferrari. After 2 podium finishes in the final weekend of the 2015 season, Tocqueville Motorsports are back for a full campaign with their Audi R8. Team leader Nigel Moore may only be 24, but he's already raced at Le Mans, in British GT, and is a multiple Ginetta champion. Teammate Phil Hansen is a reigning British karting champion and about to embark on his first full season in cars. But make no mistake, this is a team with huge potential.
Sprint racing was what we did before, and that really helps in cars now, and especially endurance racing, because you're getting through traffic as quickly as possible. And I think that's definitely going to show when we get out there racing in endurance, because yeah, the traffic won't really be an aspect that we're going to be worried about. We did think about going single-seater route, but I think what we wanted in car racing, the endurance, the time you get on it, the experience, you can get so much more from GT racing rather than single-seaters. Especially with track time and race time, you've got hours racing rather than just 20 minutes or so in single-seaters. You're learning a lot about, how it kind of works, the time you spend on track and off track, and just getting used to the whole timetable of it. And at the same time, you're also learning a lot of driver control and car control. The main goal for this year is just to get as close as we can to Nigel, and then with that will come being close with everyone else, because Nigel will always be at the front. So I think that's the main goal, to close the gap with Nigel and make the gap between the first and second driver pretty much, less than half a second would be good.
Also in action, the lightning fast father and son pairing of Glyn and Jim Geddy in the ABG Motorsport McLaren. They won the British GT title together in 2011, and after a foray into British touring cars, Glyn's focus has come back to endurance racing. Another very competitive father and son pairing comes from SG Racing. A few years ago, Peter and Mark Cunningham made for a very successful duo in the Britcar Production Championship. After a couple of years away, they return, having swapped their Seat for a Porsche, and are relishing the challenge of stepping up to the Dunlop Endurance Championship.
If you're going to do these things, you've got to do them majorly, so we went for the biggest change we could possibly found and brought a Porsche. Very exciting. It's so different to the Seat. I've had to just scrap it all and start again, and we've been very lucky. We've had a lot of guys and helping us out, and giving some pointers, even friendly drivers in the Britcar paddock even, and it's been good and it's been very useful, and we're starting to get a head around it. To be honest, the biggest difference is the lines you have to take. You take so many different lines compared to what the Seat would used to. The Seat would be a much more later turn in. This is a much earlier turn in. Taking corner speed in this car is just immense. Just having the will to just sort of say, take your foot off that brake pedal and turn. And just having that hope and that the car's going to go, and it does. And I think that's the big difference. Where the Seat, you had to stop it, turn it, go. With the Porsche, it's just like carry as much speed as you dare and turn and hope, and it does it. So that's the big difference between the two, really.
Also making a welcome return to the championship is Johnny McGregor, whose family-run team have developed this unique Tyrannus for their assault on the title.
We spent the last 18 months really redeveloping the car, so we redesigned the chassis on it. We've done a lot of work to the aero, new loom, the whole thing was basically new. So we'll see how it goes today. It's the first race for it. We've done a bit of testing, but we'll see how it goes. If it was dry, we'd be very tight on fuel. I think with it being wet, we've got a bit more flexibility. The refueling system has been redesigned on the car, so it's a bit more efficient, which is going to help us, I think. As long as we can just keep it going, we should be all right.
Four-time Fun Cup champion and experienced GT racer Nigel Greensall is reunited with his 2014 teammate Darren Nelson. The pair previously enjoyed success in a Ferrari, but return in this stunning Lamborghini Huracan. The Chevron GR8 might just about be the smallest car on the grid, but don't let looks deceive. It's an incredibly fast car, with experienced endurance racers Chris Hart and rock drummer Neil Primrose above the track torque entry. Just about the last team to confirm their attendance was WDC Racing. Ex-motorbike racer Neil Garnham had originally planned to enter his Porsche 997, but with some required parts still unavailable, it looked as though they would have to sit out the opening round. That was until teammate and knight in shining armour Rob Young came to the rescue by offering up his Ferrari 360. A car which has only been raced once during the last 5 years, and up until the eve of this race was sat locked up in a garage.
It was just one of those spur-of-the-moment things. I warmed it up, topped up the oil, kicked the tyres, and put it in the trailer. So it's pretty slow compared to the others, but we're having fun. I fitted a new engine over Christmas, so it has had some prep. New engine, new brakes, new hydraulics, new fuel pumps. It looks faster than what it is, but we're having fun, which is the important thing.
Highly successful race team Century Motorsport have 2 Ginetta G55s entered in Class 3. And there's an international flavour. UK-based Russian Ruben Anakasyan teams up with Ollie Hancock in car 88. While in car 43, Steve Fressel is joined by young Danish driver Jakob Mathiasen, the latter having come to race in the UK for the first time as he looks to carve a career in GT racing. Whitebridge Motorsport have entered an Aston Martin Vantage, which sees 2012 British GT4 class champion Jodie Fanning teamed up with former quad bike racing champion Chris Murphy.
Aston put me in contact with Chris basically for Britcar this year and thought why not. He's only done quad racing before, so he's got a bit of a learning curve, and qualifying today hasn't been ideal. The conditions sort of started wet and then started drying up a bit towards the end. But yeah, quad's got 4 wheels, but that's about where it stops. The similarities, they're obviously off-road jumps and everything. If we're jumping in this car, we're doing something wrong. So yeah, it's a steep learning curve. He's never been on slicks before, things like that. This was his first time in the wet, so it's just a massive learning curve. He's starting from zero effectively, but he's got the credentials. He was doing well in quad bike racing, so he's got the right attitude and everything to get it done. So just needs time in the car really and get used to it and being around other traffic and things like that, which is also new. But he'll get there. It just takes a bit of time to learn these things.
And those are just a few of the very talented drivers that we'll see lining up on the grid for today's 2-hour race here at Silverstone, not to mention some glorious race cars.
It's time for us to take a short break now, but don't go anywhere. We'll be back with what promises to be some fantastic racing from the Dunlop Endurance Championship. We'll see you in a few minutes.